Hi guys and welcome. In this little video we're going to be taking an overview of this Swiss Army knife multi-tool, which is a Wenger Minathor, Minathor, which is portmanteau, stands for Miniature Atelier de Horloger, which means small watch factory. And this is a collaboration tool made between Wenger and Bergeon. Bergeon are manufacturers of very good quality Swiss watchmakers tools. This is a combination of useful Swiss Army knife tools and features combined with very useful watchmaking tools for everyday general use. Without further ado, let's take a look at the tools on here, and we'll start on the back with the tools in the scales. And first of all, we have what's commonly referred to as the toothpick, although the literature, the information that I found for this particular tool, it refers to it as an oil pick. So I'm not sure, I've heard lots of people refer to them as toothpicks, but an oil pick apparently, so I don't know. Here in the other side we have a pair of tweezers, but these are slightly different. This is the first of the watch specific ones, because these are fine tipped tweezers, as you can see here, rather unlike the sort of wide spade-like blunt tweezers that you will typically find in a Swiss Army knife. Slightly different to Victorinox as well is that these are inboard of the scales, or the handles, the plastic handles, in that you have to hook them out from the inboard position rather than from the outboard position. Next up we have on this side an awl, which differs from the Victorinox version because it doesn't have a hole through it, which apparently is for putting a thread through and sewing, assuming, I don't know, you're out in the woods and you hunt a wild boar and you want to stitch yourself a jacket from its hide, maybe. But this one is just an awl with no hole. On the other side we then have the ubiquitous corkscrew, as seen on numerous Swiss Army knives the world over, for popping open your bottle of Chianti or Pinot Noir after you've made your boarskin coat and you're sitting down for a tipple. And onto the other side of the watch we have the large flathead screwdriver, bottle opener, and this little slot here, which is often referred to as a wire stripper, but again in the instructions refers to it as a wire bender. So again, I'm not 100% sure on that. And then the second of the watch-specific tools is the Bergeon Caseback Knife. Now this is a specially shaped caseback knife with a sharp edge. It's not sharp in the sense that you'll cut yourself on it, but it's very narrow with a steep bevel, which is ideal for getting under casebacks and bezels and popping them off. Then the next one of the watch-specific tools is this, which is the handle for the contents of the tool chest, and simply pops off its little peg like so. And we'll look at that in a little more detail in just a moment when we get to the tool chest. But the next one, which is kind of a combination of a standard Swiss Army knife tool, in that some of them have a magnifier like this, but this one is watch specific because you have a little graduated millimeter scale, the loop or magnifier, and then a spring bar removal tool, which, as you can see, is very narrow with the forked tip to enable you to pop off spring bars for changing straps, bracelets and the like on watches. We then have the Bergeon tool chest, which is double-sided. This pops out like so, and we have on this side two punches, which are ideal for removing spring bars through drilled lugs or popping out pins for adjusting a watch bracelet, a very fine tipped spring bar forked tool, and a Reamer with its own built-on little handle. On the other side we have a crosshead screwdriver, a small round rat tail file and 2 flathead screwdriver bits. So going back to the tool handle, you would pop this off like so, and then you can pop out a bit of your choice, whether that be the file or one of the other tools. So we'll just pop one of the screwdriver bits out because that's kind of easy to get to. And you can see it's got 2 little tabs which go into slots in the handle, and there you have a little watchmaker's screwdriver which you can use accordingly. And you can buy additional tools for this. It comes with 4 empty slots which you can use to add additional tools in, which you can buy from Bergeon. Many of these are still available, but some of them unfortunately not. However, the only tools I personally consider useful for adding are the 3 other flathead screwdrivers. There's another 1 or 2 crosshead screwdrivers, which generally in watch related use you don't need particularly, and for the very few crosshead screws you come across in watchmaking, you can typically use one of the flat driver bits. But it comes with I think it's a 1.2 and a 0.8 in the tool chest, and you can additionally buy a now then it's a 1.5, a 1.5 and a 2, I think, which would be worth getting, which I might actually look at seeing if I can get a hold of, because they can be quite useful. Now, I don't know if this is what this is for, but once you've closed this can be quite awkward to open, but in the handle is a hole, slot right through it, which you can do that with. Whether that's what it's for, I'm not 100% sure, but there you go. So that folds away. That's the tool chest. The Reamer has its own little plastic handle, and it's a very, very fine Reamer, and that's something that I could see being useful for a few bits and pieces, particularly if, for example, you've got a very gunked up jewel hole, for example, with some really old crusty oil that you want to, you can't quite get the pegwood to. It'd be handy for that perhaps. So that's the Bergeon tool chest, which snaps shut. Moving further to the back, we have the typical Swiss Army knife blade, which, like all Swiss Army knife blades, are very sharp, so be very careful. And we'll close that, and then behind that, finally, we have a file with a small flat head screwdriver bit at the end, which the file is not so useful for watchmaking related things, but it's a good, quite coarse file. But the small screwdriver bit, again, is quite handy, being a small bit. It could be good for levering and for tightening screws. One thing I did neglect to mention is that the tweezers, in addition to them being fine tip tweezers, they have this little hook on the end which enables you to use it to hook them out of the handle, but the hook can also be used as a little lever for popping out the tools, like so, which is handy if you don't have any fingernails. So that's pretty much it. I can't really give any more specific advice because I am far from being an expert in anything Swiss Army knife or multi-tool related. However, if there is interest, a good friend of mine, Scott from the Bushcraft and Base, a founder member of the South Yorkshire Bushcraft Club, is very into his bushcraft, wild camping and Swiss Army knives, Leatherman type multi-tools and everything, and all the various uses they have. He is a big fan, as you can tell from the title, Bushcraft and Base, a big fan of Billy Sheehan for his spectacular bushcraft techniques, and Ray Mears for his intense bass playing. I think I got that the right way around. But yes, he has quite a few multi-tool Swiss Army knives and that kind of thing. So if there is interest, then I can arrange to have a look at some of those if people would like to see them. And this particular one I'm doing a review on because, of course, of its relation to its usefulness in watchmaking and its useful watchmaking tools. So I hope you found this interesting and informative, and if there is anything I've gotten incorrect regarding the Swiss Army side of things, please feel free to let me know below, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.